Hello, we're from these Jane's videos, and today we are going to talk about something very, very exciting. We are going to talk about the new for 2022 Lemax Spooky Town Halloween Village lineup. This just dropped on February 2nd, and I'm really excited to get into this because this, honestly, from what we've seen, which we've seen the whole lineup now, this looks like one of the best years for Spooky Town, honestly. It's a great year, let me just say that. And there's a lot of really, really cool pieces. They revealed both the regular lineup that's going to come to all retailers that sell Lemax, as well as the Michaels exclusives. Now, of course, the regular lineup will have some that are at Michaels and some that aren't. Only time will tell which of those will be. But dang, it's looking like a great lineup, and I'm super excited to get into it and discuss this with you guys. And we're gonna hop right in, honestly, because let's just go at it. I'm gonna first start off with like the big. Well, I'm first gonna do the regular lineup, and then I'll do the Michaels exclusives closer to the end of the video. There's always way less Michaels exclusives than the full lineup. But we're gonna jump right in. I'm gonna do the bigger buildings first and move my way down, and then I'll briefly talk about the accessories and stuff, but not too much, just because they're not as big of a deal, and I don't think you really need to talk about them too much. But coming in with the first one is actually my favorite one, which is why I want to talk about this one first, because this is my absolute favorite one of the year and one I'm most certainly going to get. This is Dr. Gory's laboratory. This one is so cool. I love laboratories and sci-fi stuff for Halloween, and it's been a while since they've given us a laboratory. And this might be the coolest laboratory we've ever seen from them. It's just everything you could want in a laboratory. It's got the big brain on the top in the vat. It's got a lot of really awesome lighting and all the cylindrical tubes. There's like bubbles and stuff, and it kind of pulsates. It's so cool looking. It kind of surprised me that it didn't make audio. I think it would actually be cool if it just... I don't like the talking on the Spooky Town pieces. I will say that. I don't like the talking. Usually the voice acting is pretty bad. But the talking itself, it's just not... It takes away from it. And it just doesn't... They always say something cheesy and generic. So but I do like them to have audio. Because obviously there's a volume control, so you don't have to use the audio, but it's always great if that option's there. I think this one was kind of a missed opportunity to not have audio. It could have just had some eerie music with some like electric zapping sounds. I think that would have been cool, but other than that, it's a really great one. It's got some great lighting. I would assume it's going to be one of the more expensive ones. It's definitely not going to be super cheap, but I do like it a lot. Next up, we have Last Ditch Gas and Salvage. Okay, this one's really exciting. I don't think I'm going to get it, but it excites me. This is a follow-up to the Wasteland pub from 2018, which was their first ever... Usually Lemax, they have, like their classic Halloween line that can all like fit together in a village. But they also do... They used to do this a lot more in the past. Like they did an Egypt line, they did Pirates, they did Wild West, they did all these different lines and stuff. They don't do it as much anymore, but it looks like it's definitely making a resurgence. They do different specific lines that basically go into their own village that kind of go together. 2018, they introduced their first ever apocalyptic building, which was the Wasteland pub, which is honestly one of my favorite Spooky Town buildings they've ever made. I don't own it, but I really, really want to. It's one of my most sought after ones. I just haven't gotten around to getting it. And it's really the same issue I have with this one, which is why I haven't gotten it, because it can't fit with a lot of other buildings. It kind of has to be in its own village. And so I always want to do, classic Spooky Town as my main village. However, I would like to also have like separate villages, because I have the Egypt collection that they made a long time ago, and I would love to use that, but I can't use it in the normal village. So I always thought of doing like a 2 villages and doing the Egypt one. I might eventually do that with the apocalyptic one if they continue this line, do a separate village and alongside my main one, and have the apocalypse one, because I love that theming. I think that theming's awesome. It's just so hard to fit unless it's its own separate thing. But this is a really cool one. I don't like it as much as the Wasteland pub. The Wasteland pub had that cool gas mask on it, the guy wearing the gas mask. It had awesome lighting with all the purples and the neons and the glowing. This one's lighting is more basic. I mean, it's still got those cool flames and stuff. It's still got some purple, but it's not as cool looking. And I don't think the guy on top is as cool, but I'm just overall really excited that they're continuing the line. Again, this one doesn't make noise, which is surprising because the Wasteland pub did. And usually big buildings like this with its eccentric lighting usually make noise. So it's really weird to me that there's not very many that make noise this year, because I don't see why they wouldn't include the noise, because if people don't want the noise, all you have to do is turn down the volume. So I think they should have still included some audio just for the people who want it, but not the cheesy generic talking. It would be better if it was just like ambient music. Next up we have the Crypt. Next up we have the Crypt of the Lost Pumpkin Souls, which is one that I'm considering getting. It's kind of weird because, I mean, I don't know why pumpkins are in a crypt or they have souls, but I like the concept. Overall, I just really like how this one looks with that big pumpkin front and center. I love their lighting this year is really, really good and very different from stuff that they've done in the past, because they are using different colors. Usually for the Halloween buildings, we usually only ever get green. Green is primarily what we get for the lighting, and then they also usually throw in like an orangish yellow. But now, and occasionally there's purple, and occasionally there's black lights as well. They've definitely been doing a lot more purple. They've kind of been straying away from black lights, which kind of sucks, because I think the black lights are honestly the best lightings they do. But there's occasionally purple, but it's usually primarily green and that orangish color. But this year, and you'll see this with some of the other pieces, they're really starting to do more lighting choices, which I think is great. There's some white lights shining up on the signs on this one. And it's also got a steady purple on shining onto the pumpkin guy, which I think is cool, because usually the only time there's lights shining onto like a specific character in the piece is if that building makes noise and the character talks. This one doesn't, yet they still have it, which I think is great. Really, overall, really super cool looking one. I just love the look of this one. I think it looks great. Next up, we have one that makes noise, but I absolutely hate the noise on this one. The voice acting of the witches has to be the worst. It's bad, but I like the look of it. Agatha's Apothecary. It's not what I'm going to get. I like witches for Halloween, don't get me wrong, but for some reason the Lemax witch buildings never appeal to me. They'd never made one that I'm actually like, yo, that's really cool. They're all kind of generic, and this one's actually different. I will give them props for this. This one's different. This one's cool. It's just not one that I'm going to get, but it does move, which is the first moving one I've covered so far. And it also makes noise. I would assume this one's going to be on the pricier side, but it is pretty cool. We are now going to talk about the big showstopper one of the year, which I know is going to sell out. It's going to be an amazing seller because the carnival rides always are. This is a carnival ride, and I think it's one of the coolest carnival rides I think I've seen from Lemax. This is the Count's Bat Bonanza, and this is something I really want to mention about this one, because this is the one that actually caught my attention, that they're doing more eccentric lighting now. There's red lights on it, which is something we have never seen from Lemax. Christmas, Halloween, whatever, we've never seen red spotlights on their buildings, and so I think that's really cool. I love how they're adding new colors. It really makes it pop more. It really fits different themes better, because green, purple, and orange don't fit for every single theme. So I really like that it has that lighting. I think that's pretty cool that they added different colors of lighting that we've never seen. Overall, it looks great. It looks awesome. I love the cathedral aspect to it. And then you have the bats flying around. The bats look super cool. It's not what I'm gonna get. It's controversial, but I've never been a fan of the carnival pieces. I don't know why. I guess because they just don't feel super Halloween to me. Because there's not usually, I mean, clowns are Halloween, of course, but these aren't really most of the carnival things don't really have to do with clowns. They're usually just like a carnival ride that's themed to Halloween, which is cool. However, that's not really a thing. I mean, you have fall festivals and stuff, but never like a huge carnival for Halloween. It's not really something that exists, and so it doesn't really make me think of Halloween too much, which is why I've never really cared too much for the carnival ones. But I do like the carnival ones that feel like killer clown type things. Like the Web of Terror Ferris wheel from last year, that was one of the coolest carnival ones if they've ever made. Because that one, it doesn't feel like a whole full themed carnival for Halloween. It just feels like a clown theme. And I like that one a lot. So I actually got the Web of Terror on sale after Halloween. And it's one of my first carnival buildings ever. I have clown buildings, and then I have the carousel from years ago. But this is one of my first actual rides besides the carousel. But I got it because, like I said, I like that one a lot. And I'm going to do a carnival section in my village this year since I got it. However, I won't be getting this one because it just doesn't fit the type of carnival that I like to do, which would be clowns, as opposed to like a full-out themed giant spectacle carnival, because that doesn't really exist. Let's see, what else do we have? We have the Poison Pumpkin Potpourri, I think how you pronounce it. This is one of the ones that has the smoke coming out of the chimney, which they only ever did for Christmas with the smoke coming out of the chimney. However, for Halloween of last year, they did the Skull Cave Quarry, which had smoke coming out of the quarry, and the Isle of Creepy Jacks, which had smoke coming out of the pumpkin's mouth. But I'm happy that looked great. I have the quarry, it looks great. However, it's not as noticeable because it's trying to cover such a large area. It's not very noticeable. I mean, it is, but it's not as noticeable as the ones with the smoke coming out of the chimney like they had on the Christmas. So I'm glad they're introducing that to Halloween, because that's a lot more noticeable, because it's a big like stack that comes out of the chimney. And this is a cool one. I'm not a big fan of the pumpkin on top. I don't know why. I just don't really care for how he looks. But I think it's pretty cool. I think one of my favorite things about it, other than the smoke coming out of the chimney, is the corn husk off to the side there. I think that's a really cool added touch, which I really, really like. So that's a pretty good one, I have to say. We're going to get into some of the smaller ones now. We have Shinbone Family Reunion. Probably my least favorite, honestly. I just don't... I love horror and comedy mixing, don't get me wrong. However, I feel like the stuff like this I'm not really too big of a fan of, because it's like too kid-friendly, kiddish type thing to be. I like the more macabre humor for Halloween. This is more, just kind of fun, whimsical. It's just not my taste. I also just don't really care for how it looks. If you like it, cool. I don't really care for it. This is the Sugared Pumpkin Candy Shop. Okay, this one I'm really excited about, and it's surprising because it's not one of the big ones. It's kind of just it's a small one, but surprisingly, even though it's a smaller one, it has really good lighting on it. Like, it doesn't have just the standard interior lit bulb. It has some really cool lighting on it for sure. And the reason I'm excited for this one is because I've been thinking about this for years. I've been thinking, they have so many, if you don't know anything about the Lemax Christmas, they have a ton of Christmas candy buildings, which, yes, candy does have to do with Christmas. However, candy is an even bigger part of Halloween than it is Christmas, yet they've never done a candy-related building, which always surprised me. I never understood it, because candy is such a huge part of Halloween. I never really understood why they didn't do one. So this really excites me to see this. I always wanted them to do a Halloween candy factory or something, because they have Christmas candy factories. I think that would look super cool. Hopefully they'll do it in the future. But I'm just excited to see some candy representation in the Spooky Town world. Definitely one I'm looking into getting. I also think it looks super cool. It does look great. I like it a lot. Now we're going to get into the more, I'd say, basic ones of the regular lineup, though there's still some really good ones in here. These are the interior lit ones that just have a bulb inside. First off, we're going to start with the Witch's Cottage. It's alright. I mean, I like it. I think this is the type of architecture that... I really like the architecture on it, I will be honest. I think it looks pretty cool. It looks like a classic, like, fairy tale witch cottage, which I really enjoy. Only reason I don't care for it too much is because we've just seen so many things like it in the past. It's pretty basic. It's not really anything too special or unique. Now we have the Be Afraid Clocksmith. I like this one. I do. I just have so many clock-themed buildings that I don't think I need another one, but I do like it. I think it's definitely a nice name. It's a cool one for sure. It's kind of skinny, but I feel like that could actually work to your advantage if you have like a small area you need to fill in your village. It's cool. This is my favorite of the interior ones, and honestly one of my favorite ones of the year. That's a wrap mummy mortuary. I like this one a lot because I'm really into the mummies and Egyptian type theme. Like I said, I own the Egyptian village that they did years ago. The Halloween Egyptian village with the mummy's tomb and the pyramid and all that. So I do want to get this one. However, I would not put it with those. And that's why this one's kind of odd to me. I love it. I love the theming. I think it's fantastic. But it's kind of odd because it doesn't really work. I mean, it does, but it also kind of looks kind of off in a normal Halloween village, which that's what it is, because it's a modern building. It's a modern building just themed to mummies. So it works in your normal village, but at the same time, it's just so extravagantly Egyptian themed that it really might stand out a lot. But at the same time, it can't go with the Egypt village because the Egypt village is literally ancient Egypt, whereas this is like a shop decorated to look Egyptian. So it can't really work in the Egypt village, but it also might stick out a lot in the normal Halloween village. So I think that's kind of something that I take into account with this one, is it's kind of hard to theme it to stuff. I would have preferred if they would have just given us another edition, just revived the Egyptian village as a whole. I think that would be really cool. But with that out of the way, I still want to get this one just because it's pretty freaking cool. I mean, look at it. We're going to get into some of the smaller accessories now, but I'm not going to really... Oh, I forgot one building because it's probably my least favorite. I actually said another one was my least favorite. This is my least favorite. It's so forgettable that I forgot it. This is Bailey and Bella Pet Shop. It's not really Halloween. I mean, it's a pet shop decorated for Halloween, but it's not really Halloween, so I don't really care for it too much. We're gonna get into the accessories now. I'm not gonna cover every single one. I'm just gonna cover like the big ones that stick out. Like Tombstone Seesaw is what I'm gonna cover now. It's cool. They move up and down on the seesaw. I feel like they move a little too fast. Like it definitely doesn't feel natural, but it's cool. It's not really my type of thing. I don't really like the ones where it's like a small accessory on this big platform, because the platform just sticks up way too much. But it's all right. We have some light up ones like Cat and Pumpkin, Spooky Cauldron. Those are pretty cool looking. Fearsome Flowers, I like seeing that because I love the man-eating plant theming. I thought when I was scrolling through this the first time and I saw the Fearsome Flowers, I thought that means we're going to get another man-eating plant building, but no, it's kind of just flowers just kind of stuck in there. We also have Spooky Planter Urns, which one of them is a man-eating plant. Time Expired, it's a vulture on top of a car... What are they called? Parking meter. I think that's actually pretty cool because there's like bones at the bottom. I like that one. Pumpkin Snowman. I like that one quite a bit. I think that's pretty cool. Jack-o'-lantern Bird Bath. Day of the Dead Crypt. I never really understood the Day of the Dead being paired with Halloween, because yes, Day of the Dead is in a way similar to Halloween. I mean, they're both held at the same time of year for basically the same reason, because it's time of year revolving around death and stuff. However, Day of the Dead is not Halloween. That's like combining shoot, I can't even think of an example. I was gonna say Thanksgiving and Christmas, but people already do that, so I can't really think of an example. But Day of the Dead is not Halloween, so I never really understood if they want to do a Day of the Dead village separately, I say go for it. I think that'd be cool. But combining it with Halloween, I think is kind of odd. You'd kind of have to do your own village for that. So it's not really something I would get, but I do like the Day of the Dead stuff. It's just Day of the Dead is a completely different holiday from Halloween, even though they have similarities. It just doesn't really make too much sense for me. Ready for a New Spell, it's a witch. Last Ditch Zombie, so this is meant to go with the Last Ditch gas station. Like I said, I'm not going to go through all of these, and I'm not going to show pictures of all of them because there's just way too many little accessories. So if you want to check it, I'll have the link in the description to the website so you can check out all these. Undead Brewery Worker, Always a Gentleman, I like that one. And then this is interesting, they put this in here because usually this would go with like their Thanksgiving Harvest Crossing Village. Candy Apple Cart, which I mean I get because candy apples do have to do with Halloween, but for some reason this just feels more like basic fall to me than Halloween. So, but I guess the kids, well, I'm not gonna put up a picture, but the kids are in costumes, so I guess that's why. It just kind of sticks out a lot. But I guess if your village is more of a kid-friendly Halloween, then I feel like it could work. You have Dark Portents, which is a fortune teller gypsy lady, which, though I did not mention any fortune teller gypsy stuff, there is some of that stuff in the Michaels exclusive. So I'm surprised this figure that goes along with it was not a Michaels exclusive, but it's meant to go along with that. You have Monster Coffee Break, Curbside Pickup. It's a witch riding a broom next to the curbside pickup. You have Lab Assistant, which is what I'm interested in getting because I want the laboratory. Halloween pet walk, so it's a kid in a French fry costume walking their dog. Sandwich board skeleton, I actually like that one. It's very classic Halloween-y. He's got this big sign on him advertising a Halloween festival. Feeding the birds, skeleton woman feeding birds. Zombie wedding party, I like this one. It's got quite a bit that comes with it. You have the whole zombie family, they're posing for a picture in the cemetery. I like it. Black cat countdown, we usually get a countdown, that's what that is. In the wrong graveyard, I still haven't really figured out what's going on here. I think it's like someone in a costume trying to escape real skeleton dogs. I haven't really looked at it too much. Day of the Dead party, another Day of the Dead one. I like this one quite a bit though, because it looks like the cover for Oingo Boingo's Dead Man's Party album. So I like that. I think that, I would assume that's where they got the inspiration from. I like that. You have Graveyard Costume Party, self-explanatory. Last Ditch Tow Truck, so this is to go with the Last Ditch Gas, so they're definitely trying to bring more apocalyptic stuff, which I appreciate. Skeleton Deco Lamp, Witchy Cauldron, I like that one actually, the cat looking into the cauldron. And these ones are actually pretty cool. They're ghost blow molds, which I think is pretty cool. That's very, very different. I like that quite a bit. It would be kind of hard to fit that into an actual spooky village that's actually supposed to be haunted. But if you have a village that's just decorated for Halloween, like with their trick-or-treat buildings, I think that's actually a really, really cool thing that they did that. Little miniature blow molds. Now, I know this video is running pretty long, but there's a lot to cover. Now, usually the Michaels exclusives are some of the best ones. There's not too many that I'm into this year, to be honest. So I'm just hoping that that means a lot of the good ones from the regular line come to Michaels. But we'll see, I guess. We're going to start with the Headstone Mill Brewery. I love me some creepy windmills, but I don't really get what's going on here. It's called Headstone Mill Brewery. It's obviously a brewery, which I'm getting kind of sick of. They're doing a lot of breweries and beer and whiskey themes, and it's just kind of weird because that's not something that's associated with Halloween. And yes, they're making like haunted breweries, but I don't know why we need so many. They just keep pumping them out, and I'm like, okay, another beer one, another whiskey one. I'm like, okay, when's it gonna stop? But I love me some windmills, but I feel like that takes away from it. If it was just a classic creepy windmill, I'd be more into it. It's kind of a lot to take in. Like when you first look at it, you're like, what is going on here? There's a little bit too much going on in it, I think, but it's all right. This is probably my favorite Michaels exclusive and one I definitely want to look into getting, but at the time of recording this, let me check if they added one. Nope. At the time of recording this, for some reason, it does not have a video yet. And so I'm not fully decided on if I want to get it. But I really, really like it. It's going to be one of the pricier ones, but I really, really like it. It's a very 1920s type vibe, which I really enjoy from the colors of the signs. And it looks like the sign on top might light up, like interior, like not like a spotlight, but literally interior light on it, which will make it look kind of like a neon sign, which is cool. It's very 1920s. The whole writing and everything, it reminds me a lot of The Shining. I love it. And at the top you have all the zombies dancing. It says in the description that there's flashing lights and stuff, so I feel like this one could really be a big showstopper one. I'm looking forward to seeing a video of it for sure. You also have The Future Looks Dark. I don't know. It's kind of generic, and I think it's cool. It's something that we never really see, fortune teller theme, but it's kind of basic. And it's an interior lit one, and I'm not too big on those. Toil and Trouble Ale House. It's pretty cool. Not one I'm going to get, but I do like it. I think it's definitely one of the better witch ones this year. I like the hat on the top. I think that looks pretty cool. Now you have Raven Hill, which I actually really like this one. They've done this for Christmas for quite a few years now, where it's like, it's flat backed. So there's nothing on the back, and it's not like a full building that goes all the way around. It just has a front. It's a facade, basically. And what you do is you put it in the background of your village to make it look like it continues onward. And they use what Disney uses to make their castle look bigger. They use forced perspective, where the buildings in the front are bigger, and then in the back they're smaller, so it looks like they're in the distance. And I feel like with this one, it looks really cool. I mean, you have a church up in the distance with a cemetery going up the hill, gradually getting smaller as it goes up. It creates a really cool effect. My only issue with this is I don't know if I have a spot where it would blend in naturally in my village. I feel like these are better if you have like a whole mountain range in the back and you could have it there. But I feel like just having it standing there in the back might look kind of odd, though I'll have to see it in person to fully judge. Hopefully they actually set up their Lemax this year, because they didn't last year due to shipment delays. I'll have to see it in person to really judge what I think of it. You have another one, Dancing by the Moonlight. This is not a building, it's just a... It's alright. I mean, we've seen so much like it, and I don't like how the moon is on a visible stick, but oh well. These two go with the Gloom Room. These are accessories. I'm not going to show them, but we have Roaring Roadster. It's basically an old-fashioned car with some zombies riding in it, and A Night on the Town, which are some 1920s dressed zombies. And so those are definitely going to go with the Gloom Room. And if I get the Gloom Room, I'm going to get those, but I do not want to decide if I'm getting the Gloom Room until I see a video on it, because, you know, that's just how things go. But with all of that out of the way, that is all the Lemax Spooky Town 2021 Halloween Village buildings. Really strong year. I really like it. There's so many unique things, so many cool things. Like I said, Dr. Gory's laboratory is definitely my favorite one of the year by far. I really, really like it. Depending on what the Gloom Room is like when they release the video, that could possibly be my second favorite. I'm not sure. My only issue is it's probably going to be more of a pricey one. But we will see. We will see. Dr. Gory's Laboratory is my must-have. And then there are, like I mentioned, there are a few more that I would like to get. If you want to look at these for yourself, watch the videos in full. Here are the ones that have audio, which there's not very many. If you want to see this for yourself and look at all the accessories I mentioned but didn't show, link is in the description to check out Lemax. We have so much stuff getting covered this month because now not only do we have Lemax, but Morris Costumes on the day I'm filming this revealed some of their stuff. So I'm going to have a video of that out soon discussing the Morris Costumes, animatronics, and stuff like that. And it's exciting to see this stuff this early, because usually, I mean, Lemax usually releases this stuff this early, but so does Morris. But still, it's always exciting to have something to excite us for the upcoming Halloween season this early on in the year. I hope you all enjoyed this video. It was pretty lengthy, but there was a lot to cover. Let me know what you think of the 2022, I almost said 2021, 2022 Lemax Spooky Town releases in the description. There's only about 6 months before they hit store shelves, but you can, I believe, purchase them on some online retailers right now. You might want to go to Lemax's website and get some more information on that. I think Gift Spice and eHobby Tools and stuff might already be selling them for pre-order. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I think they are, because they usually do as soon as they go on the site. They'll hit store shelves like Michael's in July. So I hope you all enjoyed. Keep howling at the moon, my werewolves.